Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Hello, welcome to episode 52 of the Atom Radio Drive Time podcast. That's right, a whole year of Drive Time podcasts. Well done to you if you've listened to all 52. Massive congratulations to you on surviving all 52 episodes. Here we go with another episode, the best bits of this week's Drive Time. On the way this week, we're talking about names again. I know we've done this before on Drive Time, but we are talking about names, and some of these are quite unique. Certainly not anything that I would ever thought of I knew that I was having a son, so I was looking at boys' names, but before I knew that, I wouldn't have thought of any of these either for a girl or for a boy. So yeah, maybe my field of thought just wasn't wide enough. We'll also talk about scary snakes as well. There was one on the loose. I don't know whether it's been captured or not yet, but there certainly was one on the loose. And a question about love songs as well to come in the podcast this week. Plus, of course, if you are heading off on your first ever lads holiday, all right, you're old enough to go on holiday on your own with the lads, you booked and off you go. And then you get a list of advice from your mum, which is absolutely going to ruin your lads holiday. It's going to be like a saga trip rather than a lads holiday. That's all on the way in the Atom Radio podcast. If you stick it out all the way to the end, I'll tell you about how to subscribe and everything like that. Nice hot week. Bit of fun on the show. Here comes episode 52 of the Drive Time podcast. Enjoy.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
This is Atom Radio. Hopefully you love us. That's good. We've done baby names before, haven't we? Like on this very show. And if you are someone who is pregnant and about to give birth, here are some baby names that nobody else in the class will have. All right. Now, we're looking at these together, if I'm honest. I've not looked at them before. Acacia. I believe that's how you say it. It's Greek for thorny or naive. I don't know you'd want to call your little girl that, would you? Hey, Thorny, you feeling a bit naive? No, maybe not. Prescott, as in John Prescott, I suppose. Like get well soon, John Prescott as well. On a more serious note, the former Labour Deputy Prime Minister, get well soon. Prescott is of Anglo-Saxon origin and it means priest's cottage. There you go. Anastasia is Greek for resurrection. They're all like Greek, aren't they? I have heard people called Anastasia before. Worse than that, I know someone who's called their child Anastasia, which is quite posh. Tyson is a variation of Thai, which is Latin for house. Ah, yes, it's called the child House. That'll go down that well. Adelie is a version of Adelaide, which means noble or kind in German. I'll be honest, I've never heard of anyone called Adelie. Tad is a shortened version of Thaddeus, which means gift of God. You know, like when you say to someone, yeah, just a tad, that means just a little, doesn't it? You know, so yeah, if I thought of Tad, I wouldn't think, gift of God. I think, yeah, just a tad. Astrid is Scandinavian for divine strength. You'd have to be a pretty hench child then, wouldn't you, to carry off that. Riker does not have a meaning. Well, why are people coming up with this name then? Azure is purplish shade of blue. I know that. And 10, Reed is Scottish for red. Is it really? My aunt is called Reed. I don't know whether that's got anything to do with red or not, but I'm just thinking, I've never had that before, you know. Hey, have a wee look at that red car over there. You'd say red car, surely, wouldn't? It's a red car. Come on. 4:38 Monday afternoon. Hello to you if you're listening in Cambridge in the UK. May very well be the last time you ever listen. A 9-foot snake that could eat a human is on the loose in Cambridge. Police are searching for a reticulated python after it was spotted near Lovell Road. Officers have tracked down the owner, but their snake has not been seen inside. The python is not venomous and attacks on humans are rare. They are the world's longest snake. They're native to Southeast Asia and they can grow up to 31.5 feet long. How do you keep one of those? Like, how much room do you need to keep a 31.5 foot long snake? A fully grown python can open its jaw. Reticulated python, is wide enough to swallow a human, but the shoulders can be an issue. So yeah, if you're in Cambridge and you are quite well built and you've got big shoulders, hopefully you'll be okay. But if you're smaller built, you may very well be in trouble if you come across this reticulated python. It doesn't say here what it's called. So yeah, don't call it. That's probably a good idea.
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
Glastonbury at the weekend, did mention it earlier. Boris Johnson, who could very well be the next Prime Minister. Well, things have gone a bit strange for Boris Johnson because obviously Stormzy sung the song Vossi Bop at Glastonbury, which includes the lyrics F the government and F Boris. And he's thanking him. He's thanking him, actually saying that he was backing him. What a cretin this man could be Prime Minister. It's a worrying thought, isn't it? It really, really, really worries me.
Mark Denholm.
Sheryl Crow and A Change Would Do You Good. Or some change, I guess, if you pay. I tell you what really does do you good. You know, when you go in a shop and you pay for something with, I remember once I think it was £1 coin. I gave £1 coin for a 50p drink, and the lady was chatting to someone and ended up giving me £9.50 change for my £1 coin for this 50p drink out there. Thank you very much. Now, I must admit, if that was a small local store, a small local business, I would have said, actually, you've overchanged me. You only owed me 50p, and I would have given it back. But as it's one of these large multinational companies, I thought, nah, stuff it. I'm having that. News for 4 on the way for you after Lauren, Rudimental Cricket World Cup theme. I love this. Stand by.
I shouldn't call you in this days.
Drive time with Mark Denholm.
Remember on Monday I told you about that snake that was on the loose, the reticulated python, wasn't it? That could possibly eat a whole human being. Are you still with me? I was just checking. If you are listening in Cambridge, are you still there?
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
I would love to know if there was a survey done. You don't really need to do a survey, do you, to be fair? You'd have all of the songs somewhere. The official charts company would have a list of all the songs that have ever charted. Out of all the songs that have ever charted, how many of them are about love? That one's pretty obvious, isn't it? Love is on the line. I'm thinking Kelsey Ballerini, Miss Me More, probably is. I've got Lewis Capaldi, Hold Me While You Wait. That probably is as well. Sarah Bareilles, Love Song. What more can I say? How many songs, though, of all the songs ever released, let's just say in the UK, have been about love? It's probably the most popular topic ever for songs, isn't it?
Mark Denholm.
Controversy earlier on in the week on The Chase on ITV. Anne Hegarty, the governess, insulted, apparently, a contestant. Anne failed to catch a contestant and then announced that it was a team of lookalikes. She said that Damien in the first chair looked like Dustin Hoffman and Richard in the third chair looked like Shrek. Ouch. Harsh. Anyway, people on Twitter said that it was savage and harsh and that Richard did get back to the final chase with Damien and Pam. They played for 11 grand and they won. So there you go. You see, Richard is going to blow it all in Vegas, blow his share of the 11 grand in Vegas. So well done to you.
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
If you are going away on holiday, right? Imagine your first holiday. There you are. You've got to 18. You've reached the age where you can go on holiday with your mates like Finlay Brocky has. He was planning a trip to Magaluf, which is known as another thing that rhymes with Magaluf but begins with S. His mum, however, was not having the inhibitions of a lad's holiday. To make sure that he keeps some sense of decorum, his mum has made him a list of rules. This includes no drinking before the flight, no unprotected sex, no tattoos, unless it's on the bum, so it's hidden. Don't drink before you get to the airport. If you're drunk, they won't accept you on the plane. Just remember the Eminem concert. Don't actually. I suppose you can remember the Eminem airport. We wonder what happened at the Slim Shady event, but probably something wild. She jokes with him if he loses his ID, they won't let him come home either, which wouldn't actually be too bad. And then she goes on, like, don't judge the price of food by how many alcoholic drinks you can buy for the same. Don't get a tattoo, or if you are getting one, make sure it's on your bum, so when you're regretting it for the next 70 years, it's not an obvious daily reminder. Don't have unprotected sex. A night of fun is not worth a lifetime of gonorrhea. In fact, don't have sex at all. You don't know where they've been. I think his mum must have been to Magaluf. Sorry, didn't need to question your mum, but has she ever been to Magaluf? AtomRadio.co.uk. How would you know, if you're a mum, what happens on a lad's holiday? Because you've not been on one, have you? I know you've been on a girl's holiday and that, but you've not been on a lad's holiday. But then the other thing is, if you went on a girl's holiday, like his mum went, you'd have known what happens when you're 18 and you go on your first holiday. You would have known. So what you're basically saying is, hey, look, when I was 18, like my son, for example, my son's nearly 4, he'll be 4 this month. If I was to say to him in 14 years' time, when he says to me, Dad, I've booked to go to Magaluf on holiday. And I say to him, right, okay, so when your dad was 18, I went on a lad's holiday and I did this, and this. But I don't want you to do any of that. It's just hypocritical, isn't it? It is hypocritical. Also, think about love songs as well. How many songs that you hear in an average day, even if they're not like the slow love songs and that, you know, the ones you have your first dance to, say, at your wedding, even if they're not that, how many songs you hear are about love? Loads and loads and loads and loads are all about love. That is the podcast, episode 52. All done. We'll have episode 53 for you next week. Hit the subscribe if you're on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Google Podcast. Hit the subscribe. Make sure you check out next week's podcast. Back on Atom Radio, of course, on Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. You can join me then on atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio, and Smart Speaker too. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for checking out the podcast.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denholm.
Atom Radio.